Ban.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Battle Central Europe Season 3. We are still in the losers bracket. We have a best of 3 between Aftershock Gaming and Denial Esports to determine who is going to be moving on to face the Lions and who is going to be leaving the tournament. I'm Mike Loris. I'm joined by More Rage, please. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent, man. Thanks for having me. A really exciting matchup here. Dota 2 Best YOLO has the odds dead even 50% each. Dota 2 Lounge 57% in favor of Aftershock, and little commonality between the two. Both of them banished to the lower bracket by the Hellraisers. So we'll see who has the opportunity to once again face them in the next matchup if they lose to VPP in the winners bracket semifinals.
Yeah, it's going to be real tough for both teams, as which talking in the lobby, Aftershock were pretty on tilt after losing to the Hellraisers, but I think they are capable of beating Denial and then beating Lions and then going to Hellraisers, as I'm assuming Virtus Pro Polar are going to go to the finals. I don't know, that's just me. That's where my money's at, but yeah, it's worth noting that Aftershock are playing with a stand-in. Sneaky is standing in for Jalopy, and Jalopy's one of the more flashy players of Aftershock, so hopefully for their sake, they are not too sidetracked by that, but in any case, we have a draft going. Disruptor picked rather highly for Aftershock, along with Ogre Magi.
Yeah, interesting first pick. Isn't bad versus the Puck for obvious reasons with that Static Storm, but usually see him more of a situational pick, not something in the first material. But we do see pretty standard bans. The Broodmother has been banned quite a bit, especially in the Tier 2 scene recently, and Viper going to be banned out here. Batrider, Brewmaster are the bans from Aftershock, so they are going to take a little bit of initiation and a lot of strong team fight away from Denial.
Yeah, fucking Mad made it pretty clear in a previous lobby that he thinks that Broodmother is just the most ridiculous hero in the game right now, so they're going to take that one out. They're going to grab a Puck, and they're going to be pretty happy about that. Io, also a hero that Denial Esports favor a lot. It's the Io, Beastmaster, and the Venomancer are three of the very typical Denial Esports heroes. Though they may be comfortable with the hero, they are picking it into a Disruptor, who is most commonly picked up as a direct counter to Io.
Yeah, definitely with that glimpse, able to thwart all the relocate attempts, even the Static Storm. With the relocate coming in, two heroes are generally in close proximity, so Static Storm, Kinetic Field, also a good way to deal with that. But Denial, I guess they're not worried about that so much. They do really favor this IO, and they are pretty proficient at running it. So we'll see what they end up pairing it up with. I do love the Beastmaster that they run quite often, but doesn't look like the best game thus far for Beastmaster. I mean, he does have the long-range initiations with the Roar to bring down that Disruptor.
And
Ogre, pretty tanky in his own right. And he's, yeah, there now it's going to be banned out either way. But Ogre pretty good against physical damage as well. So, but they will take that away. Definitely a signature combo for Denial.
It's not going to surprise me at all if they want to go for a Venomancer. As far as Denial combinations, they, of course, run the tiny IO, as everyone should be able to. They also are quite partial to the PA and Gyrocopter, so if they do want to go for those, then those will be open for them. They're going to take out the Terrorblade and Jakiro, maybe just to protect their towers just a little bit. Both those two heroes can very quickly bulldoze your lanes, and well, maybe Denial are going to try to take it a little bit later with a PA pick or something like that. It'll really depend on what Aftershock pick up, and I don't think Denial are going to pick up their IO partner until a little bit later.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely do have a little bit more variability, having picked up that Puck. Aftershock, prioritizing the Disruptor and grabbing up what is a very strong hero in this meta, and the Ogre. They have narrowed down what their options are thus far, and you see the couple of core bans come out from Denial here. Jakiro, very strong early and throughout the game with that Liquid Fire, but they're going to deny up that early aggression from Aftershock, and will try to allow their Puck to snowball into the mid. Will be interesting to see what direction Aftershock takes this in here.
Well, they already have their two supports. Disruptor has recently been impressing me with what he can do aggressively, but generally is considered more of a defensive hero. Ogre Magi, though, can be played either way. Usually aggressive is better. Razor, the pick for Aftershock, picking that over the likes of a of Death Prophet, and that's fine, I suppose, but it'll give Denial quite a powerful hero if they do want to run with that. It's going to be a tiny for them, so going to waste no time picking up their combination, and it might be a dual lane mid for them. With an IO tiny, you could stack up those camps pretty high and get them down pretty quickly.
Yeah, so we may see a safe lane or an off lane Puck. So once again, still a lot of variability in this draft for Denial, but Aftershock going to pick up the Timber here. That's another way to deal with this relocate pretty well. As I said before, often you will see them be quote-unquote butt buddies with the IO and the Tiny. So that Chakram doing quite a bit of work to chain as well. And thus far, not too much disable from the side of Denial. Of course, reliable disable, I mean by that. The Coil is there. They do have the Avalanche as well. But Timber pretty elusive, and he should be able to have pretty much free reign over these early engagements.
Yeah, so that Timbersaw is going to be a pretty large nuisance for Denial. IO and Tiny both strength heroes, therefore getting hit that much harder by the Whirling Death minus stats, and that's sometimes going to be relevant. It's hard to see it for sure, but I can promise you that IO and Tiny are going to be taking a lot of damage, and that's not something that is good for Denial. They have 1 silence and 1 stun from the Tiny. Generally, you would like a little bit more. They need another support hero right now, and well, the crowd control is going to be the bare minimum, I would say, for Denial. Picking up someone like Avengeful Spirit would be fine for them. I can't think of any other support hero that would be clearly better.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who picks up this one position, which I'm assuming we're yet to see for Aftershock, because they do have, as you mentioned, Jalopy not present for this one. It'll be interesting to see if they use it internally or they have the stand-in play in the 1 position, but I do worry a little bit for him. And the relocate gangs with the puck, they should be able to bring down solo targets fairly easily with this combo, and they will actually pick up the Doombringer from Denial Esports. A little bit of a curious pick for me, but they can take the Disruptor out of the fight, which Aftershock did prioritize very early. Also good against the Timbersaw for obvious reasons. Not the best against Razor, but does put quite a fork into the plans of Aftershock, at least in terms of their 5-man engagements.
Though the Doom is very powerful against the Timbersaw, he will inherently weaken Denial's lanes. Normally it's going to be Doom off lane, and in that scenario it's either Aftershock laning a Ogre Magi Disruptor plus 1 hero up top, in which case Doom is not going to have a fun time, or it's just going to be a Timbersaw up top, in which case Doom is still not going to have a fun time. There are very few lanes where Doom comes out ahead, and right now I don't see any lane that Aftershock can run where Doom is going to have a really good time. So he's a great counter for Timbersaw, don't get me wrong. The crowd control effect of Doom is so crippling, but outside of that, he has to actually get to the point where he's a threat, and that's a difficulty. And also, it's another melee strength hero versus Timbersaw, which is not really what you want.
Yeah, at this point I see it as more of a crutch to Denial's lineup than an asset, but we'll see how it pans out. They could put him over in the safe lane. I feel like if Aftershock is smart enough, they'll just adjust their lanes to have the stronger laner up against this Doom and have quite a good time in lane, as you mentioned. He does have that Devour mechanic to recover, but they are going to need him to get those levels up early, and they're also going to need to prioritize this Puck's farm, so I assume they'll put the Puck in the safe lane to allow him to snowball and grab up a Blink Dagger, and they'll have to relegate Doom to those off-lane responsibilities. Death Prophet going to be a 5th ban here from Denial Esports. Never really see it slip through to that far, but they will take away the Death Prophet Razor combo from Aftershock.
Well, for Aftershock, looks like the core role farmer is going to be the Wraith King. In general, I'm on the fence with this hero as a core role. He is fine, but that's pretty much all he is. He's pretty good with Bloodlust, I suppose. But really, Aftershock have some freedom in their role. They could have picked up anyone. Looks like they're satisfied with the Wraith King. For Denial Esports, though, this pick is definitely a little bit more rare than the Wraith King, let's say. Crystal Maiden as the pick, and this is potentially a pretty deadly tri-lane. CM Tiny is legit, but the Mana Aura, definitely not going to go amiss. Overall, with the exception of the fact that she's pretty much paper, I like the pick.
I do as well. I think it synergizes well with that Puck and the global presence from the relocate, especially with that Arcane Aura, as you mentioned. But I do worry for her survivability. If she gets hit with one disable, be it the Fire Blast, the Wraith Fire Blast, or even any of the Timbersaw's toolkit, she's probably going to go down here. So they're going to have to keep at least one hero, one core hero with her at all times. It'll be interesting to see how Denial is able to lane this up. And it looks like Sneaky, the stand-in, will pick up the 1 position for Aftershock.
So it looks like they're just going to stick to the normal plan, and we'll just try to have Sneaky fit in as best as possible. I can only assume that Sneaky has played with the team before, or played with some of the members, and they're not too unfamiliar. But at any rate, for Aftershock, they are going to be running with 1 stand-in. It is going to be said stand-in Sneaky playing the Wraith King. Zeroji is going to be playing the Disruptor, joining him up towards top with Mind Control on the mid lane Razor. It's going to be Nisko, aka Magoma, although I think I'm probably just going to call him Nisko because it's easier, playing the Ogre Magi, and that leaves Kefka on the bottom lane as the Timbersaw.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they dual lane this up, but either way, dual lanes becoming ever the more popular. On the side of Denial Esports in the safe lane, Creo J playing on the IO. We've got Paris or Sakshka playing on that Tiny, and it looks like it will be a defensive try with fucking Mad picking up the Crystal Maiden in the mid. Joral on his puck. He's played this year quite a bit and is pretty proficient on it. And finally, rounding out the lineup, Funzy on the Doombringer in the offlane.
So Funzy's going to be going up against probably the best lane that he could ask for. Disruptor's poking is pretty deadly, and Wraith King with the Wraithfire stun is definitely a threat as well, but overall it could be a lot worse for the Doom, so I think he's going to be pretty happy about that. The tri-lane of Denial, Cryo's IO is never really going to be a huge asset whenever you're running him in a tri-lane. You really just want him to be pulling, and Ogre Magi is just a powerhouse, but still Crystal Maiden and Tiny can get some very easy kills because of their sheer amount of burst damage. So this is going to be an interesting laning phase for sure. Cryo is going to be dead weight, but I think the strength of the other two heroes might be able to carry this Wisp through the first couple of minutes of this game.
Yeah, the regen should definitely help out with the Timbersaw and the Ogre. Pretty much heroes that both blow their loads early. I mean, the Timbersaw has a nice cooldown on the chain at 4 seconds. But other than that, they shouldn't have too much kill potential here. But they are able to bring down Cryo, as you mentioned, if he overextends. In the mid lane, we'll see Nisco rotate up the cliff. But there is Radiant Vision here, so he shouldn't be able to find anything on the puck.
There's also Disruptor kind of in the area, maybe considering a Courier Snipe, but after seeing Joral's items, they know that that's probably not going to be a possibility. The lanes as they are right now involve Aftershock with really not many heroes in lanes, but it's going to be a Timbersaw just by himself down on bottom, and though Cryo and Tiny, they're going to be hit very hard. Oh, wait, Funzy's going to get hit with a Wraithfire Blast up towards top. Only level 1 on Disruptor, though, but with not much committed, already Funzy is near death, so that's pretty much the story of the lane from the minutes to come. Kefka, he's going to be zoned out by the IO, and though IO is not that threatening, he could poke okay against one melee hero. So the lanes are actually becoming a little bit better on the bottom lane for Denial and a little bit worse on top, but again, that's to be expected. It's what happens when you pick up a Doom.
Yeah, he definitely does weaken your lanes, and it looks like they're trying to persuade Kefka to skill up that reactive armor level 1, and he does opt to do so, but he is still finding some farm a little bit behind Funzy at the moment, almost picking up his level 2 here, but he should be able to stand in lane with the IO stacking, as you mentioned, and Crystal Maiden does juggle fairly well as well with the level 1 Frostbite.
Unfortunately for Kefka, even though he's not going to be pressured out of lane immediately, he's still facing down a pretty serious damage deficit. Tiny with one of the hardest hitting auto attacks in the game from level 1. It's really damn hard to outlast him no matter who you are, and Kefka's going to be zoned out from the rune. Unfortunately, he really can't get that because CM, IO, they don't have a lot of damage, but they have just enough. So Kefka, he's doing okay down on this bottom lane. At least he's doing a lot better than Funzy up towards top because Funzy isn't even top anymore. He's going to leave the lane and try to get something done in the jungle, and I think this is a necessary move. He knows that if he gets too close, if he gets glimpsed, then he's completely screwed.
Yeah, he does pick up the pack leader aura at level 1 as opposed to like the unholy aura from the satyr, but maybe they look to push into this tower early and eliminate that semblance of map control. Mid lane pretty much a wash at this point, 10-2 for Joral's puck up against the 8-3 of Mind Control's Razor, so shouldn't be too much kill potential there as long as Joral uses his phase shifts well.
I don't think anyone's really too surprised about how this lane is going. If there's ever going to be a kill in this lane, it'll be off of rotation or off of a mistake from the Razor once puck hits level 6. Anything else is probably not going to result in anything, but they now have 4 heroes on the bottom lane. Denial, Doom's going to be jungling it up. This is going to let Sneaky farm up the top lane, and a free farming Wraith King, generally not the scariest hero in the game, but a quick hand Midas, which I expect to be the build from Sneaky, into a Blink Dagger, then Aftershock with a decently leveled Timbersaw at that point, can lay some serious pressure onto Denial, and it will be pretty brutal for them.
Yeah, I feel like they picked up the Wraith King just because he's not the most ideal Doom target, so they feel like he'll be alive in these engagements a lot longer than expected. They will drop a Sentry Ward here, a little dewarding done from Nisco in the mid lane, so Joral not going to feel quite as safe with that vision in tow, but Nisco rotating in just with a little bit of an intimidation factor. Haste Rune is still top.
I really like that point about Wraith King being kind of Doom immune. As far as core farmers, like Tiny is rather Doom immune, like kind of, although it's not even an issue for him, but any other softer agility hero, the more popular ones, if you're going to be going for a Gyrocopter or if you're going to be going for a Morphling, they all just get completely destroyed by the Doom. So yeah, I like that pick, and we'll see if Wraith King is actually going to get any value out of that aspect of his hero. I'm assuming he will, just because Doom will be heavily dissuaded from going for those ultimate casts on the hero, but Doom might be in a little bit of trouble. There's Boots first in the Ogre Magi. He's wrapping around with Ignite. Funzi sees this one coming. It might be too late. There's the Fire Blast. Follow-up Wraith Fire Blast is there. With Kinetic Field, Funzi isn't going anywhere. He's going to try to turn and fight. Sneaky can do a little bit of damage to the Wraith King, but not nearly enough. TP coming in is going to be the IO, but the IO can't really do anything versus all these heroes. They have another Fire Blast lined up. They're going to dive to tier 2, and they will kill off Cryo with one more hit. Mike controls a Haste Rune. I guess 2 more hits. There it is. It's going to be 2 kills for Aftershock. They are going to lose no heroes unless Denial teleport to their top tier 1, and it looks like that's not going to happen. Razor also has a regen rune in his bottle. Are you kidding me? That's a pretty lucky rune to have in his bottle, and he's going to survive that dive and be just fine. Now 2-0 in favor of Aftershock.
Yeah, a little bit of a curious play from Cryo J there. Kefka barely going to survive. He's going to be able to fog the Tiny into the trees there and salve up, one right click away from dying. But Paris did blow his load here. He's got no mana left on the Tiny. Does have the Arcane Aura at level 1 to help him regen that up. Should be just fine in lane, but he's going to have to wait for some support rotation for any more kill potential. Funzi back up in the top lane, feeling pretty healthy right now, trying to find his level 5. But with that one death already, going to help out Sneaky quite a bit and his lane mates.
Unfortunately, the Ogre Magi, currently out of mana, has to go all the way back to the base, and that's fine. He got 2 assists for the team, and that's pretty much what you would expect from an Ogre Magi. A little bit late for the rotation, perhaps, but with the Disruptor as your ally, you can't really expect much more. Kefka's going to dodge an Avalanche down towards bottom, now go back towards the Radiant side of the Timber Chain. He has level 2 in the chain, so distance is quite high, and fucking Mad just can't quite get close enough for that Frostbite. But you get Timber Chain through Frostbite anyway, though you can't Timber Chain through the toss, and it's going to land mid-chain. Kefka is doomed to fall, and he will die to the Tiny. I don't know if that was luck or skill. I'm assuming it's skill. Paris is going to interrupt the Timber Chain just in time and get the kill. Timbersaw, he dodged the Avalanche, but dodging toss is damn near impossible. In fact, except for a couple heroes, it is impossible.
Yeah, so nice play by the trail lane bot. They do finally punish this Timbersaw about 6 minutes in, which is not bad. Funzi still a little bit higher on experience, sitting at level 5.5. But Avalanche Toss, once again, going out to Kefka there. He's going to dodge the Avalanche once again, and he's found level 4, almost level 5 at this point, but no farm to his name.
I just realized how broken the CM Aura IO Tether combination is. Like, Paris is getting so much freaking mana regeneration right now. He doesn't even need a bottle on IO, though I'm sure he will eventually go for that one just because it's so good. It's a great combination. In fact, he already has one. It was just empty. So Tiny's going to have quite a bit of mana, of course. 240 is the magic number for Tiny. If you have that, you're probably going to be getting kills. But fucking Mad, first of all, is going to be spotted out by Nisco. There is a level 2 Ignite, which does do quite a bit of damage to CM. Funzi's here as well, and looks like Aftershock this time they're not willing to dive a tower, so they're going to be falling back. But Nisco just applying pressure to Funzi. Kind of passive pressure, sometimes deciding to apply active pressure, but this top lane for the Doom is not a safe place to be, and it's going to be a little bit less safe. Once Sneaky gets a couple more CS, he's going to have his reincarnation, then diving towers is going to be perfectly viable for the Aftershock side.
Yeah, I definitely would have liked to see them dive that, but albeit Sneaky did have about 35% HP, and as you mentioned, not quite level 6 yet, so that'll certainly be the cue for a little more aggression from this tri-lane. When he picks up that reincarnation, he will regen up, as he has put a skill point into the Vampiric Aura now. But yeah, as you mentioned, Paris, one of the heroes in the game who benefits so much from mana regeneration, is generally a mana dry hero, and Avalanche Toss is such a spammable and high damage combination there that he should be able to get quite a bit done with this Arcane Aura Tether combo.
Assuming, of course, he could land the Avalanche Toss combo on Kefka,
right,
which I don't believe he's landed a single time. Maybe once, at least he didn't get any Avalanche Toss combo kills on the Timbersaw. It is very difficult, to be sure. I'm not going to understate that, but Kefka, for right now, is doing fine in this bottom lane. He's not getting completely crushed. He's getting an okay amount of experience. He's a little bit behind Funzi, but Funzi has Devour, and that's kind of cheating. So Timbersaw, once he gets to level 6, will be able to 100-0 the CM and the IO for sure. Everyone else in Denial will require a little bit more work, but still is very possible. It's up towards top where it looks like Denial are going to make a jump. It's Coil onto 2. Nisco going to try to TP either, but Avalanche will cancel that, and now Ogre's going to fall. Sneaky does not quite yet have level 6, and he will fall. 30 experience away from being completely fine, but that's sometimes the way it goes. Now the Doom onto Zeroji as Funzi chases forward. Level Death, not quite going to do it. It's only a level 1 skill, but Zeroji, I think, might be dead anyway, especially with the orb flying through. Will connect. Joral, the sharpshooter, is going to get that kill in Mind Control. Trying to make a return kill happen over here. He only has Brown Boots, however, with Plasma Field level 4. With the Eye of the Storm, he might be able to get a kill on Funzi. Trying to TP out, but that's not going to happen. Eye of the Storm will zap down the Doom, making it a 3-for-1 trade overall in favor of Denial. Losing the Doom, not the best, but man, that was a pretty well orchestrated gank by them.
Yeah, not sure why Funzy went off to the left. You should have ran down. They could have had the Waning Rift to cancel off that Link and then Orb out from the puck with the Fave shift. But either way, nice return kill for Mind Control. But as you mentioned, definitely a good gank overall for the side of Denial. Excellent timing for them coming right before the Reincarnation. In the mid, there's an engagement here. Nisco not quite in range for a Fire Blast though. But they will glimpse back the puck. There's the Connect Field Static Storm as well. Fire Blast into Joral's face. Nice kill for the support duo for Aftershock. They're going to pick up quite a bit of experience off that one.
They won't only just get that, they'll go for fucking Matt as well, or at least pretend like they're going for him. They're pushing the CM back so that they can secure the tower. So they get the puck kill, they get the tower. Sneaky is now level 6, so he will have his ultimate up, and he's just trying to bait fucking Matt a little bit more. Mind controlled Plasma Field, one more whip shot. Gonna kill off these poor CM. And, well, she can do a lot of damage, but she can't really take it. It's going to be 2 kills for Aftershock overall and a tower to their name as well. It's only a matter of time before these fights are a lot more difficult for Aftershock, since Cryo is getting a couple levels up, much closer to level 6. As well, actually, Joral going to try to go for a kill on Zeroji. Glimpse back, the puck not going to go that far back, but it will be enough to buy Disruptor some space, and he will be able to walk out of there. But Aftershock, right now, not doing too terribly for themselves, but it's really that level 6 on Aya when things get a lot more sticky.
Yeah, for sure. Joral going to catch a Fire Blast in the mid. He did expend his Dream Coil there to no avail, unfortunately for him, but as you mentioned, the key is coming soon. 366 out of 600 experience for Cryo J on the Wisp, and they will finally have the relocates. Well, is level 8 on the Tiny, with 4 levels in Toss, 3 levels in Avalanche, so they do have a lot of kill potential once this relocate comes out. But as you mentioned in the draft, Disruptor pretty good at staving off the aggression from those relocate ganks, and we will see rotations towards the bot lane from Nisco. Perhaps just looking to ward here. He's only got a sentry, though, at the moment.
He can't really do that much. He knows he's going into Tiny's territory, and Tiny, I think he's able to 100-0 the Ogre Magi with his combo. At the very least, it's going to be close. Paris, he is just farming up a storm right now. He's on the top of the last hits. However, this might change. Avalanche going to stall out, too, but the Timbersaw, you cannot stall him out. Cryo does not quite have his relocate, but they glimpse back the Tiny into a Static Storm. They're going to get that kill, and then chase for maybe Cryo as well. Unfortunately, for Aftershock, the Timbersaw is really low on mana. They'll catch Cryo, and he will cancel the TP, and he will be going down. Looks like the Timbersaw just had enough mana after using those stick charges. That's going to be another 2 kills going to Aftershock as they kill off probably the most important hero 2 kill in that Tiny, and they also kill off Io right before he hits that level 6.
Yeah, once again, Paris whiffing the Avalanche. Unfortunately, doesn't hit on the Razor or the Kefka. They had a lot of chase potential with that level 4 chain from Kefka, and they're able to bring down 2 in that bot lane. Not going to quite have the ability to press on towards this tower, but in the mid lane, Funzy standing on the high ground with Doom at the ready. So perhaps looking for someone to get caught up.
Mind control, going to take an Avalanche and a toss. However, he will be fine. Kinetic Field goes up. Funzy looking for a Doom. Will probably be lethal on Mind Control, especially if fucking Matt lands any of his skills. There's the Nova. Mind Control is now doomed to fall. However, he might get denied. Right click, not quite going to do it, and Doom will get the kill. Now the Orb onto Kefka will get Doom a double kill. Nisco is going to arrive, but he can't really do that much. Roji also does not have his ultimate. It's a 2 kill going the way of Denial. CM getting really battered by that one, but will be fine. I don't know how Funzy somehow scored the 2nd kill, but maybe Scorched Earth damage, whatever the case, it is still going to be a nice little exchange for Denials. They're going to try to crack back into a tower of their own. 10 seconds until Timbersaw is up, and this tower probably isn't going to survive for that long. Or it might.
Yeah, they do have the defense potential now, so they can mount that. Looks like everyone will back off. Joral actually still farming in the mid, 50 gold away from that ever so coveted Blink Dagger. But 13 minutes in, not the best timing, especially coming out of that mid lane. So that 1 death to the duo of the supports from Aftershock has been pretty costly for this puck.
I don't know why Wraith King isn't leveling up his reincarnation. He's holding it, and he has the skill point. But I suppose he just likes to live dangerously. He has a Blade Mail now instead of going for a Midas and or a Blink Dagger. It's a fine item if you're going to be fighting, but I think in general I would want to have a Wraith King with Blink over a Wraith King with Blade Mail, just because Denial, with the exception of Tiny Avalanche Toss, well, hold on, Joral's going to get glimpsed back over in the mid lane in a Static Storm, and he will be brought down for the umpteenth time due to the said Disruptor. But yeah, I'd rather have a Blink Dagger on my Wraith King pretty much 10 games out of 10.
Yeah, me as well, especially in this game with a lot of squishies on the lineup of Denial in the CM, the Puck, and the IO. So relocate happens mid though, however, on the back of Mind Control. He's going to get avalanched up. Toss is there from the Wisp, but he's going to get glimpsed back mid-air, and they are going to multicast down fucking Mad here. Here's the Ignite out onto Paris. Will they chase down this Tiny? They do have Sneaky here, but no Blink, as you mentioned. Wraith Fire Blast still going to connect. Eye of the Storm, a few more right clicks, going to bring him down, and that's a nice 2-0 in the mid lane for Aftershock.
And that's what happens when you pick up a Wisp into a Disruptor. You just get completely screwed over. Toss actually did not land, and actually they lose a Courier. That's kind of unfortunate for the Dire side. I don't know what the Courier is doing all the way down there, but they relocate the IO right back, and he arrived right into the clutches of Timbersaw. So Timbersaw ended up getting that kill, getting delivery from Zeroji. Plus they kill off the Tiny, plus they kill off the tower. It's a huge set of wins for Aftershock, and well, Razor, he's right now not the tankiest hero in the game, but he sure is damn hard to bring down regardless. He's sitting at 2,400 gold. I don't know if it's going to be a mech after the drums treads. Usually you go for an Aghanim Scepter build, but whatever the case may be, they're still looking for more. Fucking Mad is going to get triple stunned over in mid. Doom onto Sneaky is going to be almost completely irrelevant. He's going to chase forward regardless. Avalanche going to catch two. Toss now onto Mind Control. Slow down from the tether, but Mind Control still very healthy. Fire Blast and Cryo will kill him off. Now Mind Control with plus 70 damage is going to try to go for Paris. However, the Ice Storm not really cooperating with him. Plasma Field is going to fly. Mind Control will be just fine. Here comes Drell trying to go for Nisco, and Drell's actually going to jump himself into a Static Storm. Now he's going to be completely locked down as Paris is going to try to run away from the rest of the crew of Aftershock. He's going to try to juke around the trees with Jarrell being pursued out by Zeroji. One more Wraith Fire Blast will get Sneaky another kill. He does have his reincarnation. He will probably use it right now. Here comes Kefka. Will barely miss Jarrell as he does blink out of there. But I think, yeah, Jarrell will be fine. Sneaky is going to respawn. Now going to try to go straight for fucking Mad with Mind Control up on the high ground. One more Plasma Field will kill off fucking Mad, or very close to at least. Sneaky, he will not get the kill, but here comes a Chakram, will also not get the kill. Fucking Mad somehow still alive. He will not die to this Urn Charge. And it looks like Aftershock may have dove a little bit too far. Regardless, they still take, I believe, a beneficial fight. 8-14 now the score, whereas previously it was 6-11. So yeah, it is going to be a 3-for-2 in favor of Aftershock after all is said and done.
Yeah, overstaying their welcome a bit, but I still think they found a favorable trade. One shining glimmer of hope for Denial. They did pick up the blink on Jarrell right before he died mid. He was able to put it to use there, but a little bit of a misplay from him jaunting into the Static Storm, and then afterwards was lucky to survive, barely blinking away from that chakram from Kefka. And if they lost Jarrell there as well, would have been disaster for the side of Denial, but perhaps they can look to make things happen with the relocate up now and the blink on the Puck. And that three-man trio should be able to kill off pretty much any hero except for the Wraith King.
Killing off the Timbersaw is going to hinge upon an Avalanche Toss landing, which the Avalanches have so far been really good from the Tiny, but even though Avalanche is still a pretty good skill, like 300 damage, AoE stun, not bad. It's really in the combo and the glitch where it does double damage, where you have the real strength. Paris is now going to try to go for Nisco. Avalanche Toss combination will this time land, but a multicast before Ogre Magi dies is going to put some serious hurt into the Tiny. It will slow down Denial from this defense down on bottom, but I think they should still be able to make it happen. Sneaky only has one life, and with the fortification TP coming in from the Doom, Zeroji, he's smoked up, and he will dodge the coil. Static Storm not going to be thrown just hit. Avalanche Toss combo will instantly obliterate that Disruptor. Now the coil is going to catch two. Mind Control in the middle of everything with the Eye of the Storm. Though he's getting punched down by Tiny, he's not going to last for very long, and he will go down. Sneaky cannot get his hands onto anyone. Will be tossed up and down, and will be going down as well. That's a 4-for-0 so far in Denial. They're on the hunt for one more. Kefka managed to slip away while all of that was happening. It looks like he should be fine. But still, Denial come in with a couple of Avalanche tosses, this time landing more or less perfectly. And Aftershock, they this time definitely overstay their welcome. With no Reincarnation of Wraith King, you can't afford to stay that deep in.
Yeah, and they'll find a tier 1 off it as well. Paris picking up the last hit. They're very nice 2-man coil and waning rift on the Razor, and the Timbersaw there by Jarrell pretty much won the fight for them. They also had the early kill on the Disruptor, so he wasn't able to get much off in that engagement as well. So nice little engagement for Denial. Are climbing up the net worth chart on Paris and Funzy, but Mind Control still at the helm right now. Almost has a full Aghanims, 3 pieces available there. Only needs the Staff of Wizardry.
That's going to help Aftershock a little bit more in the fight, but it generally doesn't have that oomph factor that you really would expect from an item that's picked up 20 minutes in without anything else, except when you're talking about killing towers. Then it gets really spectacular. In those fights, it has an effect that is certainly going to add up, but it's kind of difficult to see. So may not be enough for Aftershock to take fights super convincingly moving forward, but they're still doing alright for themselves. The Timbersaw is, just getting a couple levels up, almost level 11 on him. Not with the most mana in the game, is not really having a playground as Timbersaw's 20 minutes in the game would like to have, but I think Aftershock overall, they're doing well enough. I'm just concerned about this Wraith King, to be honest, because it looks like he's now going for a blink. Blade Mail, I don't think has done anything.
And yeah, like as I mentioned earlier, he hasn't really been the focus of Denial's team fight here. They haven't really amassed onto him, as he does have that second life. They're leaving him around for the end of these engagements, and therefore the Blade Mail not doing too much work. As you mentioned, Blink would have been a lot more effective with the engagement. Fucking Mad's going to be spotted out bottom here by Kefka. He will get frostbitten up, but that's before the chain. Whirling Death is not there, as it did use it. Actually, Doom going to come out from Funzy. He's going to look to chase him down. Relocate is in as well. Toss from the long range from the Wisp, and he will tick down here. Actually, the Spirit from Cryo J going to finish him off.
You're a Timbersaw and you can't insta-kill a Crystal Maiden, you're going to be feeling pretty sad about yourself. Although he has most of the damage potential that he could possibly have right now, just not enough. And going that deep into the enemy jungle without backup, as any hero, knowing that the IO Tiny combination is on the other team, is very, very dangerous. Paris, he's on the hunt right now. He might suffer the same fate that the Timbersaw just suffered. However, it is very possible that he just insta-kibs someone. The Ignite is actually going to fly to Paris. And apparently Ignite has a mind of its own, because the Ogre somehow did that without vision. Paris is going to be really, really freaking scared, but he will be fine.
Yeah, Blink just picked up from the side shot by Sneaky, but he's going to be a little bit too short to aggress onto Cryo J there, and they will be able to disengage and look to go mid. They do have vision of Mind Control rotating through the river with that high ground ward, and they will jump forward here. Coil's expended, Avalanche as well. He's going to get tossed up. Waning Rift is there. One more right click, and Paris will finish off the Razor, as we do see Kefka rotating in, but he's positioned pretty dangerously here, not able to find that courier, and the Yule Scepter will be ferried out to Jarrell's puck.
Aftershock, they're still sticking around here. Maybe they figured Denial are just really intent at killing off this mid lane tower, and I suppose they're right in that. But if Denial actually decided to pick a fight on this top lane, I don't see it going well for Aftershock, though they do have the reincarnation from Sneaky, damage from Kefka. Without their Razor, that's most of their damage output at this point. They will be suffering a very poor fate, and it looks like it'll start up on the Wraith King. Orb gonna fly through, Blade Mail up, and fucking Mad has no choice but to get stunned, and now Chakram in. That's gonna be the end of CM. Here comes Paris, here comes Cryo. Glimpse back on Zeroji, gonna send the Tiny back, suddenly Cryo here all alone. They will try to go for the IO, but a phase shift will make short work of that. Actually, Paris is going to rejoin the fight because he got glimpsed back not too far back. Now they're going to try to go for Sneaky. Recently respawned, has the Blade Mail up. He's going to try to TP out. Yule Scepter is not going to let that happen, and Sneaky is now doomed to fall. Zeroji and Kefka both going to be pursued at by Jor-El. Blink forward for an orb, which will connect onto absolutely freaking no one, but that's fine. Actually, until multicast happened, it's not fine. He could have gotten a kill, I think, if he just aimed at it a little bit better, but it's still Paris on the chase. Avalanche onto Nisco, toss him up as well. There is a glimpse back. Paris is going to be once again inconvenienced by said skill. Funzy, though, going to take a 3x multicast. Nisco's been practicing. Kefka stuck on the high ground now. The Disruptors doesn't have anywhere to run. Looks like the Timbersaw will be able to get out of there. Suddenly the score is tied. And Denial, not the cleanest of chases forward, but overall it wasn't too terrible for them either, as ultimately it was a 2 for 2. They bring down Wraith King twice in that engagement. Yeah,
Jor-El with a little too much hubris there, chasing into 2, and as you mentioned, Nisco's been practicing. He's been hitting multicast all game long. I don't know if I've ever seen a single proc on these Fire Blasts, but either way, able to trade 2 for 2, so not bad for either side, and the puck did already pick up his Yules and his Blink, so has his core items up, so not a huge loss for him in terms of item progression.
And the glimpse certainly being, this time, inconveniencing for Paris, but unfortunately the relocate didn't come in from the bottom lane, let's say. If that was to be the case, then that fight would have been so much worse for Denial, just because Tiny wouldn't have been able to do anything. So the Disruptor is showing his value, but it's situational value, let's say, and if it's not just spot on, then the weakness of Aftershock right now, with the state they're in, they're probably not going to be able to win some fights. These fights, I expect, are going to be going better and better for Denial. The net worth lead and experience lead isn't that much in their favor. I think it's just the fact that Aftershock have all their farm on one hero, the Razor, and this is going up against a Doom, this is going up against a Tiny. Heroes that could insta-give one hero, or at least shut a hero immediately out of a fight.
Yeah, Aghanim's going to come out pretty much simultaneously for both Paris and the Razor for Mind Control. Not sure if I really like this first item, Aghanim's from the Razor. I think a BKB would have been a lot more effective here. Denial, very reliant on their magic damage toolkit. Of course, he could have been doomed through it, but very tanky on the Razor with that Treads, Drums, Aquila build, and should have survived through it. And that also allows Kefka to not be doomed up, as well as the Wraith King, as well as the Disruptor. So allows them to have quite a bit of team fight if they choose to doom up the BKB Razor. But either way, I mean, Ags does provide some tankability and a lot more damage in these engagements. Just haven't really seen it pan out thus far.
Maybe we'll see it pan out in the upcoming moments of this game. I think BKB at this point has to be the Razor's build. As you said, Doom certainly is an inconvenience, and it's going to be really bad for the Razor, but someone has to take it, and BKB to protect yourself against the Tiny combo at the very least is going to be huge, because Tiny at this point, now that he has his cleave, is going to be farming like an absolute madman. He's going to start by clearing out 3 stacks at the very least. He's going to get out of there as well before the smoke gank can actually come in, unless Nisco gets a 3x multicast on the Cryo. That'll do it. Now a glimpse back onto Paris. Static Storm is there. They're going to pick off both of them. Vision really deep in from the Dyer's Observe Ward. That's going to give them dividends and then some as they pick off 2 heroes. Really well done by Aftershock. Their vision is pretty damn good right now.
Yeah, vision's so crucial when you have a Disruptor with that glimpse at max level. The range on that is absolutely ridiculous at 1800, and they're able to pick back the Tiny. Very huge kill for them. They may even go high ground here. There's no buyback available on the Tiny or the Wisp.
And they have a double damage on Mind Control. They don't have the most ultimate left on the Razor, but it should be enough to take out this tower, at least before Tiny comes in. And Denial, as powerful as they may be, they really need their Tiny to fight, at the very least, to have that additional stun from Avalanche and the toss damage as well. The timing of this push isn't really going to favor Aftershock that much, as they're going to quickly run out of creep wave and they have to tank up this tier 3. But another creep wave is incoming, but they have to retreat immediately. Orb's going to fly through. Zeroji on the front lines will be doomed, and Zeroji is now doomed to fall. Mind Control doesn't have his ultimate up either. He's going to try to straight TP out of here, but he won't make it out alive. Gets thrown up into the air, and now Razor is also dead. Looks like everyone else from Aftershock is going to try to TP out, and they will be able to make it home safe and sound. The tower is now in deny range. May or may not be denied by Denial, but they are going to catch many on the retreat, as Jarrell is also chasing forward for a little bit more. Nisco, he has a Fire Blast, and if he turns around, he's probably going to get a multi, but he gets slowed down, and now the orb forward from Jarrell has nothing else in the tank except for a Yule Scepter. No offensive skills on the puck. He will take a Fire Blast and a Wraith Fire Blast as Blade Mail does go up. Nisco still surviving. CM not doing jack, as Puck now stuck in the Chalk Room will throw out the orb and get the kill before he goes down, but he will go down in the end. It's, well, I suppose 1-for-1 after the 2-for-0. Score still tied. And Denial, well, they still actually do not have a relocate, so never mind. But either way, Aftershock trying to go for that push, and it did a decent amount of damage, but I don't know if that was entirely worth it.
Yeah, Jarrell, once again, I think a little bit overzealous, trading over his life for an Ogre Magi. Not worth it at all. Funzy's going to bop a haste stream. He should be able to back off as Paris cleans up this creep camp here, and he will ferry over a BKB of his own. So this should be very nice for the Tiny henceforth. And as you mentioned, accelerating that farm with that Aghanims, which is basically a Battle Fury, a better Battle Fury at that. And he's already mounted the top of the net worth chart and should continue to widen the gap there.
And he has a Doom on his team as well, who, with the Hand of Midas and Devour, is also very quickly going to be climbing the farm chart. Whereas you compare that to the Wraith King, Blink Dagger, Blade Mail, nothing else. The Hand of Midas would have gotten huge in this game for the Wraith King, at the very least just to keep up with other heroes, as he's falling behind even the Puck. And Puck is not exactly a fast farmer as far as this game is concerned, but he's sure is a hell of a lot faster than a Wraith King. So this Wraith King, I fear, is not going to have the contribution that Aftershock really want. Right now, they're pretty much 100% reliant on the Disruptor skills in order to get kills, and also on the Timbersaw burst damage and the Razor. Everyone else is, I mean, not really doing that much. They're going to try to go for Jarrell, however, Timber Chain misses. And with the blink into the trees, Jarrell might be fine. He's going to silence out. Here comes Relocate. Stack Storm immediately there. Paris is BKB though, so he can't ignore it, and he will pop that and then annihilate the Disruptor. Now going for Kefka, and Kefka's not going to win this man fight. Paris and fucking Mad do way too much damage, and they will, well, try to chase down Kefka. With another couple hits, toss forward, Kefka's going to go down. In the meantime, it's still Mind Control. He is all alone now on this bottom lane, and he's up against one too many heroes. He's very quickly going to take a fall as Funzy grabs a mega kill. That's going to be a 3-for-1 as Io was the casualty in that fight. Got a little bit too close for Razor, to a little bit too long, but still Denial are going to be trucking that fight and now moving down the bottom lane. The Aghanim Scepter Tiny is so fast at pushing down towers, especially if he grabs this double damage rune.
Yeah, that 8 and 9 second BKB on the Doom and 10 second BKB on the Doom and Tiny respectively, certainly worth that engagement. Things go very well for them there, and that's only going to widen the farm gap as well, with the Razor being at the top of the net worth for the side of Aftershock. He's actually picked up a Yasha here, so it'll be interesting to see if he transitions that into an SNY or a Manta. Manta not the greatest. I mean, you can dodge the Waning Rift. Silence from the puck, but either way they're gonna have to be a little bit worried on this Razor. He doesn't opt for the BKB, and once again you see, even though he survives well, they just leave him until the end in the engagement bottom and finish him off with a 5-man or 4-man crew there. So little worried for the side of HeflaTV, where all their farm distribution is not the greatest, and you expressed your trepidations early on with this Wraith King in the 1 role, and he has opted for the Maelstrom to accelerate his farm, but very late as his 3rd tier 1 item.
So if this game drags on super late, maybe this Wraith King is going to have a better time, but a super late game is okay for Denial as well, because Tiny Io is pretty balanced in the late game. They'll be able to cleave through absolutely everyone, especially if this Razor decides to go for a Manta style. Those illusions, maybe 2 shots in order for Paris to kill them off, depending on how farmed he is, if he has a Daedalus or not, maybe just 1 shot and all your illusions are dead, if you're, of course, clumped up with them. Looks like Tiny, first of all, is going to grab an AC, and he's going to relocate down towards bottom. He's going to, first of all, go for his Zeroji. Fucking Mad stuck in the Static Storm is going to be going down, as well as the Io multicasted down. Now Paris is actually all alone with no relocate backup. He has Funzy to rejoin him, as well as Joral. They will land a 2-man orb, but they're pretty much outnumbered right now. Mind Control is going to get Doom, but he already has his ultimate up, so he doesn't really care about this one. They're going to chase forward, trying to go for Funzy, and the BKB form Doom should be just fine. Also, the Puck, as elusive as he may be, it looks like he is going to be surviving as well. Mind Control is not going to die to this Doom either. Aftershock take a pretty nice trade. They just dump so much burst damage into those very soft heroes of Denial, and it works out so very well for them. Joral still is going to be playing with the enemies right now, but he's stuck in between 2 of them. Looks like he will be fine. There is a Doom rotating in. Doom and Puck versus Timbersaw Wraith King. Honestly, don't know who wins this, but maybe Joral with no ultimate means that he's not going to be able to do that much. He's going to try to go for Sneaky, but Sneaky has his reincarnation, so he doesn't really care. Joral also does, well, doesn't have a phase shift, but he will not have to fight. Looks like Aftershock are going to call it. Still, the score is pretty tied, but you can see the difference in the net worth chart. They don't really care what the score is because they're farming so much better.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Aftershock just hanging on. They are taking some nice engagements and having favorable or at least even trades, but in the meantime, Paris just farming away, and they're not really worried about taking this to the late game. As you mentioned, Doom, always a trump card in the late game, being able to take 1 hero essentially out of the fight, and Tiny Io, very balanced combo, as you mentioned, and they will be able to cleave down even a lot of these high armor heroes like the Ogre and the Wraith King. Relocate bottom.
They're going to try to make a 2v4 happen with the Coral coming in onto 2 as well. Paris can land a pretty nice combination, however, he doesn't have the backup of Cryo, being chased down by Sneaky. In the meantime, Funzy dueling Mind Control. Paris will take it down to the Disruptor in the meantime as the Io does get picked off. Is it still going to be the same exact trade? It looks like it's certainly very possible. Sneaky going to try to go for Paris, but Craggy Exterior is going to make this next to impossible for Sneaky. The slowdown is going to connect onto the Tiny. He also does have a little bit of minus armor. Here comes the Timbersaw. That's the damage they need. Paris is now doomed to fall, and he will go down. Nisco, Kefka, they're going to try to run away from Joral and Funzy. Doom on the Timbersaw, though, will guarantee the kill. Sneaky focusing whoever he can, but even though he's landing so many right clicks, he's not actually doing that much damage, especially against the BKB. Once the stuns come back out online though, Funzy is going to be going down. Unstoppable streak being ended by the Wraith King, and Puck is the only one to live. That was a late relocate from Denial. They came in when CM was already pretty much dead, and that really didn't work out well for them. The Aftershock are just taking better fights right now, even though Denial have so much more net worth, and if that should be the case for the next couple of minutes, then they will win the game, because it doesn't matter how much farm you have if you're not using that gold correctly.
Yeah, and these engagements will help the farm of Sneaky here. He is just going to farm heroes. He'll pick up a full Mjolnir now. Perhaps we'll go for that AC for his team as well, as generally you do see the arms race come out whenever one team picks up an AC. Tiny is pretty close to that, only about 550 gold away, but we'll see the Aegis go down from the side of Aftershock. They will jump to the high ground. Wraithfire Blast onto Joral. He's going to Yule's up, but he should be pretty much dead here. Does Orb phase shift. Will be able to jaunt into the tree line, and he actually blinks over into the lane instead. And he is going to get right-clicked down, and Disruptor actually going to pick up the last hit there. So that'll get him another component of his Aghanims. He's about halfway there.
Puck, unfortunately, not baller enough to steal the Aegis, and I don't even think was going to even come close. There's now a double life on the Razor. Unfortunately for Mind Control, it is no longer glitched in that the Eye of the Storm will stop if you are currently reviving to the Aegis, but still Razor I think is doing enough damage that makes him a worthwhile carrier. At least he's a lot better than the Wraith King. So they pick off the Roshan, they pick off the Puck. Puck does have his Aghanim Scepter completed. Not sure if it's going to be getting a huge amount of value. It really only does something for you if it snaps, and there's no Vengeful Spirit or anything like that in Denial. Maybe Toss to snap it, but that seems unlikely. Either way, Puck is going to be a little bit more durable, and maybe the fights are going to be better for Denial because of it, but for sure it's the Aegis that is going to be ruling the game for the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, and currently no BKBs on the side of Aftershock, so they're not too much value quite yet out of that Aghanim Scepter, but it will be pretty decent later into the game once they start picking up BKBs on the Razor and the Wraith King. However, building into a Basher is sneaky, so interesting build from him is going to look for the Abyssal, and with this Tiny's BKB wearing down already to 10 seconds, Funzy's BKB already to 5 seconds, this Abyssal is going to be a pretty damn good item against the team fight of Denial.
Unfortunately, the Wraith King, though he may be able to bash occasionally on the Tiny, the Wraith King is going to get bashed just a little bit more because of craggy exterior. He needs a BKB in order to actually kill off this Tiny, and if he doesn't get that, then he will just be doing no damage, because every couple of hits, he's going to be stunned, and he's attacking pretty quickly, so the stuns should come out pretty frequently. They're going to try to go for Joral up towards the top lane, Whirling Death, Timber Chain, everything under the sun, but Joral's just going to blink right out of there. Mind Control in hot pursuit, but catching up to this Puck is damn near impossible, though they're going to try. If they had a sheep stick, I can understand this, but they don't, so I don't really know what the point is. They're all assembled up on the top lane, and Aftershock, they previously brought the tower down very, very low. I think this tower is going to be destroyed. The question is, can they get anything else? And it seems like that's unlikely, because Denial, they're going down the bottom lane, and with the Tiny packing the Assault Cuirass plus Aghanims, they're pushing damn fast.
Yeah, they are going to force TP rotations back from the entire lineup of Aftershock, minus the Ogre Magi. So, nice play from them just to drag them back and keep their structures up. But either way, no Roshan pit to retreat into. There doesn't seem like to be a smoke on their lineup either, so they can't re-engage here. And they may be scouted out with the Plasma Field. Mind Control going to find them out here. He's going to pop the Eye of the Storm. He's going to get hit with the Avalanche, however, and they will Yules him up and look to back off for the time being.
Looks like they will make a clean disengage as well, unless they somehow... No, never mind. Disruptor's a million miles away. He's not going to find a glimpse. It's not that broken, guys. They're still trying to chase forward for it, but the IO is pretty darn fast. Has a Yule Scepter, and Yule Scepter is just such an nice item to have on IO. Of course, it is also very nice to have the likes of Mech, any sort of regen item, any aura item, but just being able to cleanly disengage against the chasing power of Aftershock, it clearly saved their life right now, as if the Razor was able to stick to that Tiny, I don't know if it would have been a kill, but it certainly would have been close.
Yeah, we see Joral split pushing up the top lane. The Yule Scepter also does give Cryo a little bit more move speed on that IO, so obviously the active and the move speed, a little bit more survivability, and we have seen this IO go down early and often in these engagements. Aftershock been prioritizing it, and it only takes a couple nukes, especially if you get a multicast to bring it down.
Top lane, Mind Control is going to try to go for Joral, but he doesn't know that he's walking deeper and deeper into a really vicious trap. He does have the Aegis, but Avalanche and a couple of right-click going to make short work of that. Here comes Sneaky. Wraithfire Blast onto Paris will be blocked by BKB. Now a coil onto 2. They cannot afford to break this, and it looks like they won't, but this will also halt the advance of Aftershock dead in its tracks. Sneaky's going to try to go for more, but they can't find it. It's just a clean pick off on the Aegis for Denial. They maybe are sticking around for too long. Fucking Mad has a lot of mobility. He'll be fine. Everyone should be fine from Denial. And Aftershock, they just got outplayed there. No, they're going to go for more, actually. Fucking Mad is spotted by a Disruptor, and that's exactly not where you want to be as a Crystal Maiden in Hell, as anyone. Sneaky, going to jump forward for fucking Mad. There is a kinetic field. Glimpse, not in range. They're going to let the CM go. They also know that Joral's here, it seems. And with the Chakram, they will spot out the Puck, who is not going to have a TP just yet. There it is, but Kefka, he cannot interrupt it, so it looks like the Puck will also make it out alive. This mobility on Denial is just completely ridiculous. They have the global mobility with the Relocate. Of course, Puck is very mobile. Then CM and Tiny also moving pretty quick. This is very difficult for Aftershock to actually keep up to people, even though they have a Disruptor.
Yeah, I'm really wondering why they didn't re-engage back in top after killing off the Razor. He popped his Eye of the Storm prior to the Aegis, and after the nerfs to that, it doesn't continue to have the duration expended after you die. So I feel like they could have gone back in there. They traded a 7-second BKB charge on Paris for an Aegis kill, which is really not the best, as Aftershock didn't seem to be too privy to making something happen too early. But we will see Nisco with an invisibility rune flanking Funzy here. Jump in, Wraith Fire Blast, few right clicks. There's the Fire Blast to follow as well. He's going to get Yuled up, however. Nice 3 times multicast from the Ogre. Few more right clicks. 1 crit from Sneaky will bring down Funzy's Doom. Not willing to expend that Doom there. And they do find a clean pickoff for the side of Aftershock.
Jarrell also in the area. He has a TP up though, and he's going to be just fine because Aftershock, they're ignoring him. Doom getting caught out there, and Wraith King finally showing how much damage he could do. Of course, most of the heavy lifting there was done by the Ogre Magi. Got 4 Fire Blasts out, and when you could do that onto a target that doesn't have a BKB up, you're going to be killing them off pretty much, no questions asked. The top lane push is going to commence once again from Aftershock, but it will be at the trade of a bottom lane. Timbersaw, he's going to do what he can in order to kill this creep wave, but if he gets caught a little bit out of position, he can very easily go down. Wraith, speaking of, Kefka now getting tossed in the middle of Timber Chain. He will be going down before anything else. Here comes Nisco, Fire Blast 1. Going on to Paris, but it looks like that's just about it. Tower still surviving. Nisco has to be careful not to get too close. Will force staff himself away from the BKB Tiny. That's going to be BKB forced out as top lane Raxes are actually down. Razor making short work of that. Multicast times 3 onto Paris. Kinetic Field. And another 4 multicasts onto Nisco. My god, he's been practicing. Paris going to turn around and just say, screw it, I'm just going to go kill Zeroji. He will be brought down extremely low though. Now Static Storm, and he has to just run Mind Control. Going to give chase, but I don't know if he's quite fast enough. Cryo going to try to relocate, and he will be successful in doing so. Also fucking mad, blinking over the tree line. Will get out to safety. The IO is doomed to fall right now, and there's no way to actually save him. But Aftershock, they cleanly take Raxes, and they don't actually lose that much. Cryo is going to be the casualty of war, but Aftershock, they actually take a huge lead in this game now that Raxes are down.
Yeah, it's incredible to see this Wraith King keep up in farm with the Tiny. He's 9-4-7. Paris is now 10-5-7 on the Tiny. So relatively similar KDAs, and yet the Wraith King only about a 2k net worth behind. And he does pick up his Abyssal now, which is a very nice pickup into what I mentioned is both 5-second BKBs on Funzy and Paris now. Mid lane, Jarrell going to be able to blink out barely, and he will survive for the time being.
Man, if Nisco had any sort of mana regeneration, this Ogre would be so freaking scary. He's been getting so many Fire Blasts over the course of those fights, and with that much magical damage on your team, it's hard to botch it up, and they're not screwing it up either. They're going to try to go for fucking Mad down towards bottom. There is no disable for him, and fucking Mad doesn't use the Blink Dagger in time. Has a Force Staff, but good luck Force Staffing yourself away from the Timbersaw. He's going to try to go for it. The Timber Chain misses, actually, and he will survive. Luckily for Funzy, he's not going to be going down right there, or fucking Mad rather. He's not going to be going down. We have to relocate up towards top where they're going to catch Zeroji. Obliterate him in an instant. Kefka also here has got to get the hell out of here. He's going to get doomed. Toss forward onto the puck, and Kefka still surviving for a little while longer, but I don't think it's going to be for that much longer. The IO is going to relocate himself while in the air. Timbersaw down. Gonna heal up Mind Control a little bit. Paris and Funzy stuck awkwardly behind enemy lines along with Jorel. Fire Blast going to happen 3 times, and Paris is going to be focused down and brought down. Now Seeking can go into Funzy. Abyssal Blade is there with a couple right clicks. Funzy's going to take a fall. Jorel off in the trees is going to teleport out from the umpteenth time, but killing off Timbersaw, killing off Disruptor, as nice as that is, you lose your Tiny and you lose your Doom, and those are 2 heroes you never want to be having to let go.
Yeah, and you take a look at the fight recaps, about 1,000 net worth in the way of Aftershock, as well as a 1,300 experience bounty going their way in terms of the net. And they do well there in the top lane. And we see Paris on this Tiny without his trusty partner in the IO, and with only a 5-second BKB, he has dropped pretty quickly in most of these engagements.
That's kind of surprising. It's mostly due to the parts of the magical damage of Ogre Magi and the Razor. Still, Sneaky does not quite yet have his BKB, so his damage output to the Tiny is relatively restricted. Maybe a couple of static charges that are going to be hitting him, but that's about it. They're going to try to go for mid lane now. With Eye of the Storm ticking away, this tower is doomed to fall. This is going to be a difficult push. The objective right now for Aftershock is try to force out buyback, it seems, unless they decide to fall back, which is also fine. As far as items are concerned, they have an Assault Cuirass on the Razor, so his Eye of the Storm is going to hit that much harder. They almost have that Aghanim Scepter completed on Disruptor, and that is a game-breaking Aghanims. That can just change the game into your favor if you surprise the enemy with it, and then even after that, it'll make it so rough for Denial.
Yeah, definitely one of the better Aghanims upgrades in the game. Unfortunately for the side of Aftershock, Roshan's still not going to spawn for about a minute. They're going to leave the courier here to scout that out. And we do see a smoke from the side of Denial, so we'll see if they run into anyone. Fire Blast multicast out onto fucking Mad. The unrefined Fire Blast and the Wraith Fire Blast will melt him. And in the meantime, they will be able to drop the Disruptor, though. BKB's popped everywhere. Funzy's going to pop the Doom up onto Sneaky. He's going to catch a Fire Blast of his own. Yule's up onto Nisco and jump forward from Kefka. They will be able to bring down Paris here once again. And Jarrell going to have to John an Orb out. But he does go the opposite way, wisely so, and will survive for the time being. But still, 4 members up from Aftershock. This tier 2 looking to fall.
Nisco MVP. Those Fire Blasts, he got 5 on the Crystal Maiden, I believe, and then helped out in killing off the Tiny shortly after. He's running low on mana, so he only has the Unrefined to work with, but that's fine. It looks like Aftershock, they're going to be happy forcing out the buyback from the Tiny, then they're just going to go straight into the Roshan pit. That fight where Wraith King's in the middle of everything and everyone in Denial is just dancing around the sides, that should have been a much worse fight for Aftershock because the Wraith King couldn't do that much damage, but the amount of burst damage that they have with how lucky Nisco has been getting, they're going to take control of that fight and destroy it. They're now going to go in the Roshan pit in Denial. They do have a relocate up in 10 seconds, but in 10 seconds, Roshan is going to be dead for 5 seconds. And that is going to be an Aegis probably for Mind Control once again. Although, yes, it's going to be Aegis for Mind Control. And now with an Assault Cuirass, 4,700 Gs in the bank. Mind Control is approaching an unkillable state, and Wraith King is also more or less unkillable simply because no one's going for him on Denial.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Crag Exterior looks very good on paper versus a one-position Wraith King, but all the burst from the toolkit of Aftershock is just able to bring down this Tiny without really any fear of that passive having effect on them. And Tiny does pick up now the Crystallis in addition to his AC, Ags, and BKB, but he just hasn't looked scary enough in these engagements, and a lot of their damage rides on the back of him as Doom doesn't provide much but the Doom. Puck's burst begins to fall off. The control still very valuable and is looking to build into presumably a Scythe of Vice here with 3,200 gold and that ultimate orb in tow, but still a little bit of a ways away from that. Still needs the Void Stone on top of it, so should be able to find that soon, and maybe that's able to turn the tides for Denial, but things certainly looking good for Aftershock at this point.
Especially after they pick up the straight Butterfly on Mind Control, so between Evasion and Outrageous Armor and a double life, good luck killing this guy off. There's also the Aghanim Scepter picked up on Disruptor, and they're going to be heading towards the top lane. There's also BKB on Wraith King, so finally he's able to lay into the Tiny as he should be willing, or should want to. And it looks like, first of all, fucking Mad is going to be probably in the most trouble. Timber Chain forward, lots of damage already. Wraith Fire Blast there as well. Fucking Mad gonna survive for a little while longer because they're focusing on Funzy. Funzy down. He's gonna get no dooms off. Zeroji is gonna escape Paris as he's caught in the kinetic field, and he will be quickly brought down as well. Can't get his BKB off because of that fresh Aghanims, and GG is called. My god, Aftershock, it looked so bad for them for like the first 15 minutes of the game, but they recovered and then some. The Wraith King definitely stepping up his game, but I think it was mostly the Ogre Magi doing the damage for the entirety of that game.
Yeah, beautiful Static Storm there by the Disruptor, and they're able to take this game pretty convincingly after what looked like a pretty poor early game for them, but they are able to transition it, and Kefka never really getting much done on the Timber, but he did garner that Doom very often, and Aftershock able to snowball off that, and the Razor, as you mentioned, getting fat as hell and pretty much unkillable in those engagements.
Just like to quickly note that Nisco usually goes by the name Magoma, guys, so remember it. His Ogre Magi is apparently very skilled. This is a best of 3, and we'll be moving over towards game number 2. We'll see if Denial are going to win and keep their tournament hopes alive, or if Aftershock are going to continue rolling on. I'm Mike Loris. I've been joined by More Rage Please. We'll be right back for game number 2.